setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. I'm so glad you've joined me, no matter what part of the world you may be in. You know, I was looking at my statistics the other day, and I saw a whole bunch of different countries listening to me around this great big globe of ours, from Thailand to New Zealand to Australia to even Iran. I was really surprised that Iran would be picking me up. I don't know how they're doing that, but it's okay. I'm glad that they're here. I'm glad that we're all sitting down. So our conversation today is going to be about COVID-19, politics, and business. I'll be right back.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518. Or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
So I think probably where we're going to start this morning is we're going to talk about the politics of this COVID-19, especially here in the United States. It seems as though that every time that we have a national disaster, there's politicians that want to make it into a political issue. So we have this COVID virus spreading throughout the United States. We have Americans sitting at home absolutely doing nothing. People who have lost their jobs, people who have lost their businesses, people who don't have any more money to live on. And so they're sitting there, and they're listening to Nancy Pelosi, who's Speaker of the House, and Adam Schiff. And so they want to bring up these committees that want to dig in to see what's happening with all the money that's being spent on COVID-19. Not caring that the American people are suffering. They don't care about that. So they want to make it into a political issue. Now, every time that they bring up one of the oversight committees, you have to ask, are they really oversighting, or are they trying to come up with some political attack mechanism to attack the president and the American people at the same time? You see, when they do these things, they don't think about the American people. They don't care. What they want to do is they want to attack the president and come up with some kind of nonsense to spread out to the press, and the press just eat it up. They just love this kind of drama. So the American people suffer. Now, here's the issue, is that politics doesn't do anything to make jobs. They make nothing to do jobs. All that they do is create more political stress. And the American people are sitting there saying, well, what the hell is going on with these people? Do they not understand that Americans are really under stress at the moment? No, they don't care. Because everybody in government, you've got to think this, in your countries also, whatever country you're listening to me in, as you're sitting at home, and some of you are not even getting paid, just remember this. Government employees are getting paid. Their insurance programs are being paid for. Their retirement programs are being paid for. Members of Congress are still getting paid. So remember, Congress and the Senate are still getting paid, but the American people are losing their jobs. Now, we sit here as Americans and we say, okay, you guys want to make this political. You want to play this dirty, corruptive political game, but you have no desire to help the American people. Do you know what Congress committee should have been doing? And they should have been doing this last year when we knew about this virus coming from China. Why did no oversight committee or any international committee or diplomatic committee or healthcare committee, whatever kind of committees that they have out there? I don't know, they have tons of them. Why did none of those committees take a look at and say, oh, we've heard about this virus. How is it going to affect people? How's it going to affect the American people? No, they didn't do that. You know what they were pushing for the last 4 years? What they've been pushing is the impeachment of the president, trying to get him out of office. They've done absolutely nothing else for the American people. Nothing. What they have done is literally attack the president every single day, trying to impeach him, trying to get him out of office, trying to really do something so evil to this nation, and they never, ever stop to see how this virus was going to affect America. You see, Congress gets briefed by the intelligence committees all the time. So they have this information coming into them. The intelligence committee had warned Congress several months ago about what was going on with China. No foreign affairs committee looked at China. They didn't look at this virus. What they were doing is they were literally sitting there trying to take down the president. While the virus was getting stronger and stronger and spreading across the world, Congress sat there and did nothing. Now see, Congress is supposed to be working for the American people, but they didn't do anything. They're still not doing anything. Now what they're trying to do is put together this oversight committee. Adam Schiff wants to put this special committee together to look at this COVID virus after the fact. And then how Trump is spending the money for the American people. So they want to go again into this attack mode. And Nancy Pelosi has been very honest that that's what she wants to do. She wants to destroy this president. Even in her interviews in the last couple of days, that has been her objective, is to destroy the American president. Now, one thing has she come up for to help the American people? Small businesses. What has she done to help small businesses? What has she done to help the education system? What has she done to work on the healthcare system? Do you realize when Obamacare was passed, it was a flawed bill. It was bad in healthcare. She knew that. The whole Democratic Congress knew that because they're the ones that voted 100% for that. But from the time it was passed until right to this day, they have done nothing to fix that bill. Nothing. They have presented no legislation that would fix the items within the bill that were not working. So they decided not to do anything. Because what they decided to do next is, okay, let's see if we can take down an American president. What treasonous act can we do to bring down the American president? So, COVID-19 grew. It spread across the world. It's coming to the United States and has killed a few thousand people. But we have a Congress who has decided to take a virus and make it very political. Now, I ask you, as a listener, as an American, or even if you're in another foreign country, do you think now is the right time to make this a political issue? I mean, let's use some common sense here. We see people suffering. We see people dying. We see people very sick. We see that we have a shortage in supplies, in shortage in equipment. And yet they decide, let's make this political and let's see if we can do more damage by attacking the president as he's trying to hold everybody together. Common sense tells us that this is a despicable act. That this is an act of a political party that has no political candidate that's viable. So let's go ahead and let's attack the president. Let's again stir up the pot where we're so focused on the president's wrongdoings or what we're going to project as wrongdoings. And let's get the American people all stirred up again. Elections are November, not very far from now. Time zooms by very fast. So they make a virus that's killing people, that's making people ill, that's destroying businesses. They decide to make it political. To me, this is very corruptive. This is a corrupt act by the Congress to do such a thing at this time. So we have got to really, as citizens of this great world, when our politicians, no matter where they're at, take a virus that's killing and make it political, we have some really bad actors in our sights. And since they're in our sights, it's about time that we vote them out of office. That's just the only way that we can move forward as a nation is by voting out the bad actors. It's a sad situation, isn't it? People dying, and politicians want to be political. And Democrats have been obnoxious about this political act. They've done nothing to help. They've condemned and criticized everybody along the way. But they come up with no solutions or no answers or nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, I want to talk about small businesses just for a little bit. Because small businesses are in my heart. Because I'm a small business guy. So, I want you to think about this very carefully. Businesses, small businesses have been shut down. We've been told that we are non-essential businesses. In other words, a non-essential business is somebody that's not participating in the emergency side or the priority side of the economy. Those are people like me. I'm a business mediator. So I'm non-essential. And the reason why I'm non-essential is because no businesses are up and running. So there's nothing for me to mediate. The courts are operating on a limited schedule. So there's nothing coming out of the courts to say, okay, you've got to mediate. So there are businesses like me who have literally been shut down by the state governments, not by the federal governments, because Donald Trump never said for everybody to shut their business down. He never said that. It's the governors and the local states and the local municipalities and the cities and the counties who have said, okay, we're going to shut everything down. Now, do they have the constitutional right to do so? No, they don't. If you really want to know the fact on this, they don't have the constitutional right to shut us down. But they've also threatened us by some municipalities saying, if you don't do it, we're going to arrest you. Even in some churches, they have arrested some pastors because they decided to tend their flock inside their church. They decided to arrest them. So we have a government, local governments, who have become very unconstitutional in what they're doing. So they've shut businesses down. Restaurants are shut down. Other kinds of companies like myself are shut down. because we're non-essential. Well, there's a whole bunch of companies out there. There are millions and millions of companies like me, small businesses like me, who are surviving. Now, if you look at the government programs that they have set aside for this emergency, a lot of us businesses, including myself, we don't qualify because we're 1 and 2 people operations. We have no employees. We don't have anything to guide us into one of the government programs. So we're put to the side, and our businesses will probably fail. Now, I have called upon the president to give us an exact date, because when we have a business, so even if you have employees and you have an office and you have a manufacturing plant, whatever you may have, to get up and going, it takes a ramp-up period of time. Because we can't bring back all of the employees because we don't have the income or the revenue stream to support all the employees. So what do we have to do? We have to bring back the essential people who will get the company up and running quickly. The top salespeople need to be brought in very quickly. Not the senior people. The top salespeople need to be brought in very quickly so that we can get sales going very quickly. The accounting staff needs to be brought in. The problem is that we need the funding for that, so it's going to be piecemeal. The people that we bring back are going to be a ramped up version. In other words, we bring in this group of people, then this group of people, once we have met specific goals within our business. So all these people, and there's almost 13 million people, and it's going to be even more this next week, that are out of job, that are on the unemployment rolls of the government. We can't bring all of those people back all at one time. So we need this period of time to be able to ramp up, which means even when we bring back our people, we've got to bring them back with a document that says there's Covid-19 free. They don't have the virus on them. And then we have to have a set of CDC plans that will control the virus situation within our offices, within our manufacturing plants. So we need to get those in play. We need to work with our janitorial departments and say, okay, we need to have better standards in the sanitization of these offices and manufacturing plants every single day. So we have this ramp-up period that we need to go. So we need from the President of the United States, we need a specific date of when we can officially 100% take our keys to our office doors and unlock them, and bring people back to work. We need that specific date. And then what we need right now is a specific task force. We have a medical task force right now in the government that is working on the COVID-19 virus, right? We see them every single day at 5 o'clock on the president's press conference. What we're failing to see is the business side of it. Who are the people who are going to determine what needs to happen within the economic part of our country that deals with small businesses? Well, not just small businesses, but all businesses. We're the people who are looking at the economic data, who is looking at talking to small business and what their needs are. There's no one there. Now, I have got to give a hands off to Ivanka Trump because she has done a very good job at having a voice for small business. I praise her to all of high heaven. But there's a problem, is that government doesn't understand the needs of business. Only business can help other business. That's the only way it works. Government will never be able to help small business. They just don't, because they don't understand small business. They don't understand the small mom and pop who are trying to survive every single day and maybe are operating at a loss every single day. But they're still out there trying, and they're trying to get ahead. government doesn't understand the mentality of a small business person and the surviving mechanism that small business people have to deal with. Listen, I talk to small businesses all the time because I advise small business. And I hear their stories. The profit margins are so small sometimes on what they're doing that sometimes they eat it in the shorts because that's the way it is in the marketplace. They're getting eat up by the larger guys. So we have to think about this very carefully. So I call upon the president today, put together a business task force because it needs to happen. Then we need to have that specific day when we can say, okay, we are going to send people the official date that says you can open up your businesses and start ramping up. But you have to meet some guidelines of the CDC. And that's what we're all going to have to live with now because, let me tell you, COVID virus isn't going to be the only virus that comes along. There are going to be a whole bunch out there. So we as business people and good Americans have to have a good program in place on how we deal with viruses. There's going to be more viruses coming along. I'm telling you right now, this is not just somebody eating a bat in China. This is a very conniving, corrupt action by the Chinese government. There are too many open questions as to why certain things are not being reported out of China. All of the data that's being sent to us on this virus is corrupt. I'm telling you right now, it's corrupt. So, we as businesses, we can talk with the government. We can understand what the CDC rules are. We know that. We're smart people. But we need the ability to be able to open up our businesses and get back to work. No government programs is going to help us. That's nonsense. What we need to do is get back to work. That is our desire. That is our goal. But if you keep us locked up for too long, we're going to fail so badly that we'll never be able to come back. So understand, government has a responsibility to business. You can't keep us locked down because of a virus and more viruses that come along. Listen, I'm telling you, the flu and pneumonia and everything has killed so many people in this nation and around the world, but we've never shut down the government because of it. Probably if we would not even have known of COVID, we would have gone right along with our lives. Yes, we know people were getting sick, and yes, we know that people were dying from pneumonia. We know all that. But what if I have just flowed right along with the regular flu season? Maybe we would have seen a big spike in deaths and stuff. But then that's the question of what are we doing to prevent that? So, small businesses suffer during this time. You have to realize that let's take apartment buildings, okay? If rents are not forgiven, but they've been delayed for a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months, what happens? The mortgages don't get paid. The property taxes do not get paid. Vendors do not get paid. The insurance companies do not get paid, but are expected to keep carrying on the insurance with no money coming in. So what you do is you put the country and the companies and the small businesses and everybody else and the banks and the insurance companies, landlords, mortgage companies, everything gets put on hold and become a risk of failing. That is the biggest thing that we have to look at worldwide, because this is not just happening in the United States, even though our economy is much bigger than other countries. So we have a bigger exposure in a bigger failure. And our failure affects all the markets around the world. So, businesses have got to be able to get back to work. If we let the virus destroy businesses and destroy the economy will then destroy people's lives. It will destroy the healthcare systems within our societies, within our communities. Because financial means are not being met. That is a disaster. It's a much bigger disaster because it affects 330 million Americans. Sorry about the rest of the world out there, but I'm talking about America at the moment. 330 Americans. It affects every single one of them. And part of that 330 million Americans are those little kids who need lunches, little kids who need food, medical care, treatment, medicines. It affects them also because the government forced businesses to shut down. Money needs to begin flowing once again. How long do you think that the American government can continue to print cash? They can't. Otherwise, inflation goes way up and none of us can afford anything. I was really thinking about the conversation I heard between the president and some senators yesterday at the White House. And I was really impressed because even the senators sitting around the table was saying, we need to build up our oil reserves in the United States for emergencies. And now is the best time to do it because oil is so cheap. Most of the time we're buying oil at the top prices. So stupid. Absolutely stupid. Right now we have an energy situation where oil is way, way down. This is the time that Americans should be buying, or the American government should be buying oil to build up our oil reserves in case of another emergency. Because you never know when it's going to hit us. Smartest conversation I have ever heard. I'm very happy about that. So if we can buy up oil right now at such low prices, build up our reserves, we will be set for a very long time. That's the only good thing about this whole situation is that we've got really low oil prices, but the other situation is none of us can go anywhere. So we've got low oil prices, low gasoline, but we can't go anywhere. We can't even go to work. The only place where we can go is to the hospital or to go buy groceries. Listen, you guys, I really want you to think about this because this economic situation is going to hit every single one of us. And if we don't get back to working pretty soon, this whole nation is going to be a disaster for a very long time. Listen, when you come out of these recoveries, sometimes it takes 3 years to come out of. Especially a big one like this one. This is a huge economic disaster that we're just about ready to slide into. And I would rather slide out of it by letting businesses go back to work and do what they do. Remember, businesses help businesses, not government. Government never helps. It takes the American businessman to putting on his thinking cap and thinking really imaginative ways of doing business. And this is what's going to happen because I really truly, if you look at the American business person, they may have failed, but somehow they'll come back with another business. I see it so often. How many of these downturns have I been through now? I think I've been through 4 downturns in the economy. 3, I've gone through 2 stock market crashes. I mean, that really were bad crashes. Now 3, with including with this. But we've always been able to bounce back. But this one is going to be The killer of killers, I'm telling you, because it has literally, government has told all businesses, small businesses, stop. Stop. Well, now it's time to say start. And I say in businesses, start your engines, because we have a lot of work to do. I mean, a tremendous amount of work to do. And we need to all work together. And that's what I love about this country, is that when businesses love to work together because they see the opportunity, they see the possibilities, and they see the huge potential of doing great things without the government's help. That's how we've always done it. If you have any questions or comments, I encourage you to send me a text at 818-252-5682. Again, that's 818-252-5682. Let's go out there this weekend. Let's live large. Let's do great things. Let's live right. I'll talk with you soon.
Outside Dawn's first light, sipping coffee, what a sight to watch the morning wake up through the trees. Lake Paradise just seemed to say, hope you're feeling good today. The birds were singing melodies for free. Now I ain't one to dwell too long on why life turned out right, not wrong, but mysteries I ponder time to time. I could have added so much worse. This blessing could have been a curse. But one thing that I know I sure believe, I've got more than I can dream in front of me. For every turn that wasn't good, I met it with I think I could, and looked up to the sky from time to time. No one can live perfectly, especially a fool like me that somehow kept good fortune in my sight. The truth is something I chose not to find. I guess I'm living right. I guess I'm living right. Now some folks have $1 million. Not me, I never had that luck. But money never helped you find your smile. You see, I found mine in a big glass door that leads out to my own lake shore. It changes with the seasons all the time. If this is all I ever have, then I'll be fine. Oh, every turn that wasn't good, I met it with I think I could, and looked up to the sky from time to time. Hey, no one can live perfectly, especially a fool like me that somehow kept good fortune in my sight. The truth is something I chose not to find. I guess I'm living right. For every turn that wasn't good, God whispered, hey, I knew you could. That's why I look up to the sky from time to time. Well, no one can live perfectly, especially a fool like me that somehow kept good fortune in his sight. The truth is something I chose not to find. I guess I'm living right. Oh, I guess I'm living right. You know, I guess I'm living right. I'm living right.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.